Human beings operate on two planes of existence simultaneously, and they are the human plane of existence and the being plane of existence. And I want to talk about why it's important to have a foot in both and which is fundamentally true and why that matters. But first, please do subscribe to this channel if you haven't done already. All right, so the human plane of existence. I want to look at this through the lens of what I would call the narrative self. We all have a narrative self, a sense of identity, a sense of passing through time, of the type of person we are, the story we tell about ourselves. Very closely related to identity. And we only know this relative to our memories and thoughts about the past and our hopes and fears for the future. Now, part of our narrative self and our identity could be, for example, our nationality. So I might say, I am British. Now, I only know I am British because someone in the past or several people came up with that idea. It's been passed down. I was told it. I understood it. I internalized it. And then I used it to make sense of reality and be able to connect with other people and communicate, etc. But the problem comes when we start taking that story, for example, that I am British has any actual meaning other than the fact that it's a story to make sense of reality. We start thinking being British is actually real. It has its own existence apart from the thoughts and the ideas and the stories that we've created about what being British means. Now, if this sounds a bit abstract, I just want to point out that since the millennium, loads of new countries have popped into existence and old countries have popped out of existence. Some countries have split apart, borders have moved. So, for example, countries is just ideas and stories that we tell to make sense of reality. They're not actually real in and of themselves. But most people lose touch with the fact that, for example, being British is just a story and start to think it is fundamentally true in and of itself. And then that becomes problematic because we can start to make it easier to other people to be our tribe is more important than another tribe. It's more important to be British than another country, for example, or whatever tribe we happen to be part of, rather than recognizing that it's just a story that we use to navigate reality. Now, that's not to say that this realm of stories and meaning making isn't important. Of course it is. It's how we communicate, it's how we cooperate, it's how we make plans for the future, it's how we celebrate things that happen in the past, etc. It's what makes us human. So not to do that down at all, but it's not fundamentally true. And I think that's the important aspect. But there is this other plane of existence, being. Now, being is very closely related to awareness, to consciousness. And being is always the here and now. It can't be anything but that. So to give an experience that illustrates this, if you notice what you can hear and what you can feel. So a few moments ago, I could hear a guy mowing his lawn just down the way, and I could hear the sound of his lawnmower. Now, you can only hear a sound in this moment, in now. You can never hear a sound, obviously, in the past or the future, obviously. And the same is true of the sensations that we experience. So right now, I can feel the sensation of my bottom on the chair. I can feel the sensation of my feet on the floor. Those sensations are taking place in this moment. So they have no relevance to the narrative human realm element of experience. It's the here and now. And this, the being element, this actually, what is actually present here and now, not what are the stories that we tell about the here and now, what is actually present. And in that dimension, our identity, what's happened in the past, what's happened in the future, this narrative self has no meaning, doesn't even exist. And that's why we love flow, because when we're in flow and our thoughts about the past and future disappear, and we're so engaged with this moment, our narrative self disappears, our identity disappears, and it's such a bloody relief. And so this is why it's so important to be in touch with the being side of existence, to recognize that, yes, this human plane of existence and the stories we tell about reality and the past and the future and time, etc. Yes, it's valuable and important to be able to navigate the human world, but at a fundamental level, it's not actually true. And if we're in touch with the being level, the part of us that is aware of what we can hear, aware of what we can feel, but at the same time is not separate from what we feel or what we hear. It's not like you can separate awareness from the sounds that we hear or from the feelings that we feel or what we see. Awareness pervades everything equally, everywhere, every element of experience, thoughts, feelings, sensations, perceptions, the whole lot. So if we can be in touch with this felt sense of being, then the human plane of existence, with its ups and downs, with its achievements and sorrows and good parts and bad parts and eventually illness and death, etc., we don't have to take it quite so seriously. And there is this sense of peace that is present even with the vicissitudes and the ups and downs of life. And also it gives each moment much more depth and provides a sense of awe, because you realize that, well, the past and future are not fundamentally real, yet we act in that way. For example, I got a train a couple of hours up north fairly recently, and I was waiting in the platform concourse beforehand for the announcement of which platform the train was leaving from to flash up, and loads of people were on this concourse. Everyone just looked like they were in a hurry to get through this moment to get on to the more important moment, which was being on the train. And of course, when they're on the train, that's just a less important moment than when they arrive. So you spend your whole life living in time thinking that a future moment's more important than this moment, and therefore you miss the miracle, the miraculous fact that there is existence at all. And so when you're in touch with this being element, what can seem like a mundane moment to most people, you realize it's got basically an infinite depth to it, an infinite mystery to it. The most mundane moment suddenly becomes alive so much. You don't need as much stimulation, you don't need as much entertainment. Every moment is absolutely rich with beauty. But we lose that if we are just stuck in the human realm of experience. And as well, the being plane of existence, it's this sort of safe refuge, so that with the ups and downs, they're not so definitively real and scary as they are when we're completely identified with the human stories we tell about reality. And I would say most people are completely identified with the human plane of existence, completely overlook the being plane of existence. Some enlightened people, I would suggest, perhaps live completely in the being plane of existence. There's just now, now, now. But for most of us, the best place I would suggest is to have a foot in both camps, is the middle way, as some might say, to have a foot firmly established and ever deepening, ideally, in the being realm, whilst still appreciating and respecting the human plane of existence. How to get in touch with that being plane of existence? Well, first of all, it's always present. For me, a few things that help. One is to be aware of the fact that we are aware. So everything that we're aware of is every element of experience. Awareness pervades every element of experience. The more you notice that, the more it goes from being invisible to far more obvious. And then also for me, meditation followed by self-inquiry. So I do meditation, I follow my breath either here at the tip of my nose or down in my belly to settle the mind. And then I'll ask myself a self-inquiry question, which for me right now that's working is, when am I? And obviously the answer is now, but as soon as you said now, you've missed now. If you feel into that, you feel like it's absolutely now. So time can have no meaning once you answer that question and you feel into it. And that's how I touch into this being realm of experience, which is really delicious and lovely. And as I said, provides this safe refuge and also this wonderful sense of awe with which to experience the human plane of existence. So that's why I think it's important to have a foot in both camps, as it were, and to appreciate both and to understand we are human beings, not just humans.